Hello, and welcome to the piece called Crossing the Streams, or How to Draw the Ghostbusters in Procreate 5. So welcome to the video, and let me just kind of start by telling you I've got a lot I want to unpack here, but it is a relatively long video since we're talking about 4 caricatures in one picture. So let me go ahead and get started. Let me start with this from the beginning here. This is actually several canvases that were stitched together to make one full video, mostly because once I got to certain kind of milestones in creating this piece, I kind of stopped everything, copied and pasted everything in one piece, took it over to another canvas, and started a fresh canvas so that way I could start over with fresh layers. I did work in a lot of layers here. Remember, 4 people, each person got a significant amount of layers, so at some point or another, trying to kind of conserve space, so to speak, became something of an issue. At this point, I got all 4 of the caricatures done, and I'm moving into kind of composing them into one place together. But occasionally you'll see kind of a fade out and a significant change into the approaches to how the picture is being laid out, and that's when you'll know I've stitched another canvas in there. Drawing this was a lot of fun. I had a couple ideas as to how I wanted to go with it. I initially started with a very photorealistic, and then I kind of scrapped everything, started over, and went with a more cartoon type style that really wasn't doing a very good job of capturing the likeness. And so I scrapped that, started over, and I ended up with kind of a maybe somewhere in between. I'm pretty happy with the way it came out. I know that there are better caricatures out there, but I think there's at least a little bit of a resemblance here, and I was pretty happy with it. I did happen to catch a really good caricature of Harold Ramis right after I'd finished mine, and I was kind of disappointed with some of the treatment I did on the nose. But all in all, again, I think I kind of got something pretty special here. Now, what I really wanted to do more than anything else is to compose this whole picture around that significant light source that would be coming from those streams crossing, as is that big moment in the movie. And let me just kind of point out real quick that I am taking the caricatures off reference photos from Ghostbusters 1. There was a decision to be made between Ghostbusters 1 and 2, and it had to be a decision because there is some difference between the appearances of all 4 of these characters when you move over into that sequel. Winston, for instance, shaved his mustache, his hair is a little bit more grown, so it's more of a kind of a puffy, short afro type style, so that would have changed things significantly in terms of trying to capture the resemblance. Dan Aykroyd was a little bit heavier at this point. Harold Ramis, for some reason, I guess they thought his hair was comedic, and so he started getting a little bit more outrageous with the height and more pompadour-esque style of the hair. It was really kind of weird. And Bill Murray, I don't know, it was always Bill Murray. I guess maybe his hair was maybe a little bit thinner at that point, but for the most part, he actually looked about the same. So, again, I had to make that decision. The other thing to keep in mind was that in Ghostbusters 2, the uniforms went to kind of like a dark blue kind of color. So, again, that decision had to be made. Now, I did try to go for some sense of accuracy with the uniforms in terms of the name patches and the zipper and where the pockets were, and a couple of characters with the Ghostbusters patch on their arm. But when it came to the packs, I did a little bit of research and I did a little bit of reference here, but I didn't make myself kind of a slave to the photograph because I really wanted some artistic license to be able to make these as I wanted to. And I didn't want to spend all day trying to focus on a whole bunch of detail and something that was mostly going to be black by the time the whole thing was done. Not a pure black, certainly, but certainly dark enough that I really wasn't all that concerned with trying to get a lot of detail in there. And the same thing with the guns. I did cheat a little bit on the hands of the gun, knowing that they were going to be really kind of obscured by the huge light source that was going to be in the foreground into this. And I'm okay with that. The focus was on the faces, and as long as they weren't obscured, that was kind of the point of this. I definitely had some ideas as to what I wanted to do with the background as well, so I'll just kind of address it right now before we move any further. This is meant to be a contrast between 2 light sources. A blue light source in the back, which is going to be a kind of a beam of light kind of going up into the sky, and then in the foreground, the beams crossing creates an orange light, and the contrast between those 2 complementary colors hopefully get some interesting effects in there. One more word here before I continue with that kind of method on this. I want to take a moment here and kind of give a shout out to somebody who inspired this piece. I've been thinking about doing a Ghostbusters piece for some time, and it started and stopped, as I said before, over a period of probably about a couple of months or so. And at some point or another, I would kind of come back around to the idea again, not be satisfied with where it was going, put it down, walk away, and you know, so on and so forth. And then suddenly, out of nowhere, an artist that I was following on YouTube started doing something similar. He was posting his versions of a caricature of one of the Ghostbusters crew. Not all four of them at once, just one at a time. And one came out, and then a couple weeks or a couple months later, a second one came out. And I started realizing that he was going to do all four of these, and I didn't want to seem like I was copying his idea, although I will state right up front here that he was doing a caricature of the cartoon version of the Ghostbusters, where I was going with the movie version. So hopefully we're not treading the same, you know, street too much there. But I gotta say, like, it was an inspiration to kind of say, look, you know, quit dilly-dallying here, get to work on this, because you don't want to be trying to publish something similar, so similar to his, that it seems like you're ripping off his idea. So let me just kind of call him out here really quick. His name is Mike Henry. Mike Henry, if you happen to be watching this, I kind of mentioned it before, I was working on this. I hope you don't mind. I love what you're doing with the Ghostbusters and all your work, as a matter of fact. And as far as that shout is concerned, go check out his channel. I'm going to put a link in the description. He has been a huge inspiration for me in terms of a guy creating artwork that he's posting on Instagram and also on YouTube, and his YouTube videos are just fascinating to watch. His commentary is incredible. You learn a lot watching him, and he's actually been an inspiration not only for this Ghostbusters piece, but for also something of an inspiration for starting a channel and kind of doing something similar to what he's doing. He's a little bit of a hero of mine. Hope he doesn't mind me saying that. But again, I'll put a link down to his channel below. Go check it out, subscribe. I'm already subscribed. It's one of my favorite videos to go watch every time he posts something new. And I'm sure you'll enjoy what he's got to offer. If you haven't like anything I'm doing here, you'll love what he's doing. Mike, again, thanks for everything. And I hope you like what I'm doing here as well. All right, so back to the picture here. You may have noticed that at some point or another I was kind of coloring in all the figures in a single color, something of a desaturated grayish. You see it right now there. This is just so I can separate the characters and use layering masks to be able to get the shadows and the lights in here. And it's at this point, now that I've got the flat colors in, that the fun really kind of begins. So I put in some basic blue in the background. I'll get back to that a little bit later on. I have some ideas for that, as I said before. But the fun part is getting this light in here, and the light I know is coming from the kind of front and center of the whole piece. So getting in there with Winston first, and then, you know, kind of following down the line from right to left, I started with a warm, kind of an orange-yellow light, and started painting it in underneath the underside of the faces. And this really kind of messes with your head a little bit, because these are the areas where I'm used to putting shadow. So usually, you know, I paint a lot of light sources that are coming from above, say from, you know, sun in the sky, or a lamp overhead or something like that. So, you know, the shadows would go under the chin and into the neck and underneath the nose and underneath the brow. And these are the places where the light has to go this time. And it's a little bit unnerving to paint it that way, and make sure you're doing it right. And remind yourself that you're actually kind of working in opposite. So it was an interesting little challenge here. Anytime I do some sort of a piece like this, there is something I'm kind of experimenting with, sometimes for the first time, sometimes for the second or third time, and it means just kind of trying to find a method. So painting light is something that I've been kind of working with for quite a while now, ever really kind of since I started digital art. And this is the piece where I'm really kind of trying to culminate all the kind of little lessons I've learned here and there, and put them together into a piece that really kind of shows off light as kind of the main subject matter. So this you know, light that comes up under Winston's chin and his nose is really, I think, kind of honing in on some good realism there almost. And you'll see I'll kind of work with some also some lighting masks, or some layer masks a little bit later, to help get that orange light in there as well, and create this like warm foreground that really kind of makes things pop. I was really pleased with how it came out. You're not going to see it happen right away, but when you see that orange layer going, you'll know it. And when I start cleaning it up, you'll see that it kind of really kind of blends well, balances with that blue in the background, and hopefully you'll kind of get a kick out of it. Now, I'm not going to spend the entire video talking here. This is a rather long one because of the fact that it took me a long time to draw all four figures. So all I'm going to kind of say here is that, you know, if you're happy with what I'm doing here, just take a moment to subscribe. And if you're interested in some tutorials, like, you know, how I did render the light, or how I did the layering masks, or anything like that, even the background, I think I pulled off some pretty effective tricks in the background there. Let me know what you're interested in hearing about. I'm happy to talk about it. Just leave a comment, and I'll make sure I follow up on it in a future video. I got plenty more projects coming. I believe I mentioned before I got some Halloween backlog I'm still going through, so you can anticipate seeing a lot more content coming in the future. Don't forget to subscribe though. That gives you the notification that the new one's out, and you can come back and take a look. Also, share with your friends. Love to see more people coming in. I'm looking for subscribers, I'm looking for views, and I hope you come back soon. Thanks again. Take care. Goodbye.